Tom,
Hey, Mike, what's up?
not too much.
How you
Another,
doing today?
I'm doing good and ready to talk John Waters classic.
John Waters.
Yeah. So
Definitely. So as everyone can see, today we're discussing the 1994 John Waters movie, Serial Mom. It's a movie about a perfect suburban family, the
yeah,
ideal family where the mom just happens to be a serial killer.
yeah, yeah, yeah. She's a bit of a Karen,
She is.
but
And I gotta say, right off the bat, nothing wrong with this movie. Not to take away from this movie. It was a little disappointing.
was it
And,
to you?
and mainly it's because I hold John Waters in such high esteem.
Yeah,
I'm used to his movies being completely bonkers, being spectacles that I've never seen before.
yeah, yeah,
And so, well, this movie is good. It's a solid movie.
yeah.
It doesn't really hold a candle to his other stuff, in
Oh
my
yeah.
opinion.
Well, it's a lot tamer than
It's
his.
a lot tamer.
It's a lot tamer,
That
and
being said, he did say in an interview that this is the favorite one of all the movies he's made.
really, really. Well, one of the things that I heard him say about this movie was uh, that Kathleen Turner's part um, was like his mom, his own mom, and he was talking about how she had so many rules about, like he said she never killed anyone. He goes, as far as I know, but but anyway,
and Kathleen Turner utterly slays in this
oh my
movie,
God,
figuratively.
yes. Yeah, the movie, I don't think the movie, because I heard other people were considered, like Faye Dunaway, I believe, was one.
Yeah, Glenn Close was
Yeah,
considered.
yeah. And Kathleen Turner, she absolutely nailed, you're right. She absolutely nailed this movie.
Actually, Susan Sarandon, I believe, was his first pick.
Really. Yeah.
Mhm.
I mean, Susan Sarandon is good, but no, Kathleen Turner is serial mom.
I think any of the choices would have done well in this role, but given that Kathleen Turner did do it, she was fantastic.
Yeah, absolutely. And yeah, I like I said, on the one hand, it's a funny movie because on the one hand, it's usually his movies, they really celebrate, like they kind of mock like regular
Hmm.
conservative life, and the established, you know, status quo. But
Yeah, the entire family is like a parody of what
yeah,
the perfect family is supposed to be.
yes, yeah, and yeah. So on the one hand, they all kind of act like, pretend to be the perfect family, and yet they still are twisted. And so it's kind of like an oddball, because again, like I said, I couldn't help thinking when I'm watching the movie, it's like she's a Karen. So so I mean, she's going to tell you you can't wear white shoes after
Well, I think one of the premises, one of the interesting premises of this movie is, there's a certain fascination with serial killers.
yeah,
And, let's face
absolutely,
it, they're almost by definition monsters.
yeah,
A normal human doesn't doesn't just kill multiple people with either little to no feeling about it or actually getting gratification from it. So
right.
almost by definition, these people are monsters. And yet, how would the public feel if there was a serial killer that chose their victims by people that were rude and offensive? It was almost like, I don't know if you ever saw the TV show Hannibal.
Okay. Yep. Yep. Yeah.
I
I
mean, that was,
have. I
and
mean,
if you have it, that's a phenomenal show.
yeah, not something I have spent time, but I've seen episodes of it.
I was
Yeah.
bummed when that got canceled. That's a worthy
Yeah.
show, and Hannibal as a serial killer on that show is almost a hero because you really dislike some of his victims.
Oh yeah. Well, it's funny because we have had first of all, people are definitely fascinated by serial killers. I mean, there's so many people that I know that like read books of true crime and I mean, look at all the TV shows that are devoted to, the documentaries and everything. I mean,
Oh
people,
yeah, there are books, there are websites.
yeah. So you can't say that people, are not like really weirdly fascinated. And hey, I've found myself sometimes diving into a documentary, whether it's a series or whatever. So yeah,
I occasionally I will read up on some of the more bizarre
yeah,
serial killers, but I honestly do not get the fascination. I've never watched a documentary, do not see the appeal.
yeah,
I don't frequent those websites. I know they exist, but
yeah, yeah.
uh,
I,
have never read a book
yeah.
about them.
I've I've read up a little bit on like certain ones, like some of the more famous ones. Like I read a little bit on Bundy, and I watched a pretty fascinating documentary on Ted Bundy, um, and it does kind of it does make you go how did this really happen? How did this person get created? That and you every once in a while it's harder to be a serial killer now because well well it's I mean like you're gonna get your ass caught. um it's not like in the past forensics, things like that were so DNA, uh, DNA matching, things like that are so much better that like in the
And,
past, it was a lot easier to do that.
and you're absolutely right. There's a lot more surveillance.
Yeah,
People with smartphones are a lot easier to track.
yeah,
There's electronic paper trails. Um, but someone that kills a person that is entirely unrelated to them,
yeah.
it's a lot harder to catch someone.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
If they're at all smart about it, because let's face it, most murders are committed by someone that knew the victim.
Well, not only that, but what's weird about serial killers, a lot of them are like super high intelligence. A lot of them have like Ted Bundy. He had a very high IQ. A lot of these guys have had very high IQs, and I don't know how much you saw about that. We're getting a little off, but not too far off.
We are.
But that Idaho, I think, yeah, it was Idaho murders that happened to those like college kids. There was I don't know if
Oh
you
yeah.
saw any of that. Yeah, and that guy was actually studying to be a criminologist, and um, obviously he was going into that because he had a fascination and he wanted to become a serial killer, and that was his debut as far as we know. um, he's still on trial for this whole thing, but they
Well,
caught him.
that's a weird. I don't know what to think about that. And again, we're not privy to all the evidence, so
Yeah,
who knows?
well
But there's a lot of strangeness about that.
there absolutely is. But apparently he had been to the house before. They also had his car on video. Speaking of, you're there's a lot more cameras around. It's a lot harder for people to do things like that without being seen by somebody sometime. I mean, there was even I think he was even spotted. There was some cops that had come to a kid's house to shut down a party, and he drove right by them. I guess either before or after killing.
Well, there's a lot we could talk about with that,
Yeah,
but let's get back to the
let's get back
movie.
to serial
Unless
mom.
we start a serial killer channel. So if
Yeah,
those
yeah,
of you
we
watching at
could.
home, you want us to shift.
Yeah, if you want us to do that, we'll do that on the side.
I should mention that the reason I chose this movie, this is my choice,
Yeah,
was because of our review of Straight Jacket the week before.
right.
And evidently, John Waters was very much influenced by both William Castle, the man,
Yeah.
and also the movie Straight Jacket, so much so that there's a scene in Serial Mom that
Oh yeah.
has a scene from
Yeah.
straitjacketing.
I actually, because when I rewatched this, I saw the scene and I was like, oh yeah. And I had remembered, seeing it before, but it was like, it almost like surprised me because I was like, oh gee, that's right. So yeah, he definitely, he likes weird movies, and that was one of the, I mean, he gets fascinated by, but like, what is it, Christmas Evil? I think that's one of his, like, he really enjoys that one at Christmas time because people people, like, watch their traditional holiday classics, and he's watching Christmas Evil because it's a killer Santa. So one of the movies about killer Santas. But yeah, uh, you can see between his mom, because like I said, he said his mom had so many. She knew like every rule about what you were supposed to do and not supposed to do, and she would point it out to him all the time about, like, well, you never do this, you know,
Well, he took
etc.
it to heart and made sure he got done everything he wasn't supposed to do.
Exactly. Oh yeah. Yep. He's kind of lived his life that way. It's funny
Mhm.
because I love John Waters. One time, Alicia and Josh had gotten me tickets to a show up in Portland, Maine, and we went there. And there was one point where some woman, he took questions from the audience, and some woman stood up and said something kind of odd, because she said something like, how can I like raise my kid to be as cool as you? And he kind of just frowned and shook his head, and he was like, you don't want your kid to be like me. He goes, I'm not. And he said, let your kid be, what he wants to be. He said, he said, I'm crazy, you don't want to be like me. But but anyway, he is funny. I'm telling you, his show is like, if you ever get a chance to see him, he's very funny. But you can
So,
see that. Yeah, go
so
ahead.
we've talked about Kathleen Turner, and she's
Yeah,
amazing. We can't say enough stuff.
absolutely.
But wow, what a crazy cast!
Oh yeah, yeah.
Like
Ricky Lake and
Ricky
uh,
Lake,
Big
Sam
Stole.
Watterson,
Yeah, yeah.
Patty Hearst.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. And believe me, I think Patty Harris is great, and he has used her very effectively in a couple of his movies, and she was great as the juror with the white shoes on.
Yep, yep.
So
Tracy Lords. He
yeah,
really
yeah,
she's been in two of his movies.
yeah. And Tracy Lords actually married his nephew, or some,
Really?
yeah, she married somebody related to John Waters. I'm not sure if it was nephew or what it was, but yeah, she married into the family, I believe. So, but but yeah, like I said, and his his picks for recurring, cast members, Mick Stoll is a great example. And
Yep, she's been in like every one of his movies.
oh my God, yeah. Yeah, I mean, and up until she died. But yeah, absolutely great. And it's so damn funny with the obscene phone call thing.
Oh,
That was
that was a riot.
that was really funny. I found that to be one of the more funny aspects of the movie, where she would either call up and just mess with her. It was sort of like the old jokes like you do with do you have Prince Albert in a can? Well, you better let him out
Mhm.
or I'll smother. Instead, with her, it's dirty word. It's dirty
And it
words.
was so out of character because
Yeah,
she would appear one way.
yeah,
You know, she appeared again like the ideal traditional wife.
yeah.
And then, to hear her make those phone calls
Oh,
and
oh yeah,
yell
yeah.
those obscenities out.
Yeah, that whole thing with and then later on in the movie, when she comes out with the word pussy willow, and
Yep.
and the woman immediately recognizes her voice, and uh, and then she's trying to tell the cops, I can't say the word. But she certainly starts saying it in court when when
Oh yeah.
Kathleen when Kathleen Turner breaks her in court. That's absolutely hysterical. They're dragging her out of court and she's swearing and
Now, Kathleen Turner's character firing her lawyer and defending herself,
yeah,
I didn't see that one coming.
No, I didn't either. It was, yeah, yeah,
And
yeah.
it was one of the best parts of the film.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, because she was so perfect at breaking everybody. Yeah.
Mhm.
But
Because I gotta say, like the murders disappointed me. In reading through this,
yeah,
um, uh, I read a number of reviews of the movie at the time from professional movie reviewers,
yeah,
several of whom talked about being turned off by the graphic gore and violence. And I'm like, what?
yeah, yeah,
Now,
yeah,
granted, I've seen a lot of horror movies, and so
yeah.
I am
Oh yeah, me too.
dated to some of this,
Yeah.
but I didn't see this being at all really very violent, despite
No,
murders.
no, yeah, I mean it's way less violent than most slasher movies say, and it's
Hmm.
also I don't know, like I said, there were things like the scene where she puts the poker in the guy's back and
Hmm.
basically pulls out his liver, and and it's stuck on the end of the poker.
Hmm.
But it was too comedic
Hmm.
for to me to be like, I mean, anybody that got like really turned off at that, to me, it's like you're lightweight, you know. It's
I mean, the whole thing is relatively bloodless.
yeah, yeah. No, it's yeah, you see little spots of blood, like the spots on her shoes and things like that. It's not overly it's not overly violent. It's very humorous. And I love the family. I love how the different you know, you got the son there. He's he's a and actually, by the way, the store he worked in,
Yeah.
that was supposed to be, I guess, I don't know if it was a recreation of or whether that was the actual video store that John Waters actually frequented because he's a real Baltimore guy.
Oh
That's
yeah.
where
Yeah.
this
All
took
his
place.
movies are in Baltimore.
Oh yeah, I believe that was the actual video store. I could be wrong on that, but where John Waters actually frequented. One of the cool things about Austin, Texas, I don't know how it is in Portland. It certainly isn't around me where I live, but 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 um, but in Austin they have or they have always had a lot of video stores that you could rent, and a lot of times it was you're renting. I'm talking about now, you know, or like
Mhm.
within last couple of years when I visited Austin, you could rent videotapes, and I mean still rent videotapes, and they were old cool cult, you know, classic movies. So I mean that's one of the things that I always found whenever I would visit, like, you know, Alicia, I would always like, it's like, yes, you know, we're going to go to you know, video store and rent some weird movies, you know, but
Yeah. We don't have a lot of places you can rent from, but we've got like at least three or four.
yeah,
In fact, one place, and I'm going to make a video of this to show for our channel.
that's the store, by the way.
Yep, yep. We've got a place here called Movie Madness,
Huh,
and it started off as a you know video rental place,
yeah,
but it was known for carrying some extremely rare and hard to find movies.
yeah, yeah.
Um, and then they started going deeper. They started collecting paraphernalia. Like I think they have one of the dresses from Gone with the Wind.
Oh, wow. Yeah,
I think they have one of the knife props from Halloween.
cool. Very
And now
cool.
they even have film classes. They've got a showing room that you can rent out.
Wow, wow. Yeah. Yeah, you should make a video. Do it and make a video and put it up on our channel. I mean,
Yeah, yeah.
why
I'm
not?
waiting for the weather to be a little more walkable.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, you don't want to take a fall on icy Portland right now because you
But
guys
yeah,
get
like people here are really into movies and into theater.
nice.
We've got a
Nice.
place called the Hollywood Theater that
Okay.
I think was built in 1913 and has
Yeah.
been renovated back to its original appearance.
Huh.
And they have a weekly film offering called the Church of Film, and it's this highly curated series of movies.
Cool, very cool. Yeah, we don't have enough of that around here. I mean, uh, Austin is completely cool when it comes to, there's some old theaters, there's some just really uh, cool movie theaters that have, like, they show cult films, they show cool films. And that's why Tarantino does all his, or has always done his, his premieres in Austin, because that's his area, and Austin is
Ah,
cool about. I mean, well, South by Southwest, that's Austin.
yeah. Well, again, getting back to John Waters, you got to love a filmmaker that really pays homage to his hometown.
Yeah, and he's totally loyal to he loves Baltimore, and he loves to talk about how the craziness of Baltimore and things like that. But
And
um,
evidently, if it gave birth to him,
yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
yeah, I love that one of the scenes was done in the club Hammerjacks.
Yes. Yeah. Oh yeah.
I looked around. There is actually still a Hammerjacks. They closed in, I want to say, 2016,
Right.
and then they reopened a few years later. But I don't know how similar they are or what the connection is, because I checked out their website a few days ago,
Right.
and they've got no acts listed. Their calendar is completely empty. So I don't even know if they're open
Oh
despite the
wow. Yeah.
website.
Yeah. 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 Don't really, other than hearing it in this film, I don't really know too much about Hammerjacks, but it actually brings to mind the movie Pecker, which I don't know. You've seen Pecker, right?
I have not seen it.
Oh my God, we'll have to do Pecker, because it's very funny, and especially, like, I mean, growing up Catholic, as a Roman Catholic, the stuff with, because there's a whole thing with a statue of the Virgin Mary, and I mean, for some people probably it's,
Well, that's a running theme
yeah,
in John Waters' films. He always has something in a church or some religious
yeah,
connection to it.
yeah, yeah. I mean, for some people, I'm sure they look at it as being completely sacrilegious. I just looked at it as, I found it. I really got the joke of, because growing up Catholic, I mean, attending Catholic school and the whole bit. You as well. You attended Catholic school,
Oh
but
yeah.
the whole thing with just the images, the statuary, things like that. And that's what with Pecker, there's a whole thing with a statue that's talking, and it's actually, I just found that hilarious. And some of the stuff in that, I mean, we'll save it for the talk, but that would be a great one to do.
Well, I
So
mean, I chose Serial Mom because of the straitjacket
yeah,
connection.
yeah,
But after watching Serial Mom and researching Serial Mom, I'm sort of wishing I'd chosen something like Crybaby.
yeah. But I still think this was a good choice. Now, when you talk about, like, you know the graphic scenes, I consider I consider this to be when she actually encourages the dog to lick her feet, and
Yep.
the feet are like right there in the camera too. That
Mm.
cracked me up, and I was like, gross.
Oh yeah, I saw a lot of things during that movie. This was the most disgusting scene to me.
Yeah, it's funny because talking about, like, disgusting murders or something like that, it's like, I could handle the murders. This this probably bothered me the most.
I agree. I agree. Do you know how they got the dog to lick her feet so vigorously?
No, but I'm fascinated to know.
They covered it in butter.
Of course.
Yep, they put butter on her feet.
Yeah. Yeah, that sounds like a John Waters that sounds like a John Waters thing. See, that's one of the things I find hilarious with John Waters, is the things he will do for a movie scene. I mean, like I said, I have to say I love John Waters. He's just
It
He's a
is
true
true, but
talent.
and to anyone watching this video, if you've never seen a John Waters film, or if you only seen maybe Serial Mom or
Yeah,
one of his later films, do yourself a favor. You have to experience one of his earlier films,
yeah, like
something like
polyester.
Polyester or
Yeah,
Desperate Living or Pink Flamingos.
yeah.
I'm not saying you'll necessarily enjoy them,
Well, actually,
but I
you.
promise you, you'll see nothing like them.
Well, I was going to say, be forewarned that his earlier works, especially the ones containing divine,
Hmm.
um, and but the his earlier works were much more were much much more, a lot of people would call obscene. And I mean, there's people that just walked right out of his earlier films, and
I
there
won't
are,
call a lot of things obscene. I will call some of his films obscene.
yeah,
And
I mean, there's parts that I definitely would. I mean, there's fetish stuff, there's crazy things in his
he
movie.
just goes to extremes that I
Yeah.
haven't seen any other filmmaker do.
Well, and it's I hesitate to say it like this because it is done in a way to shock.
Oh yeah.
Um, absolutely, but it's not just that. I mean, he's having a big laugh, knowing that some people just can't handle some of his humor. And I mean, hey, growing up with a sister like Pat, I mean, my sister Pat, I mean, her whole thing was, some of the stuff, the antics that she would get up to when we were younger. I mean, it was crazy. And my sense of humor is completely twisted because of Pat. I mean, she would.
You can't blame that all on her.
No, that's true. That is absolutely true. Well, I mean, hey, the whole family is. but but yeah, like I said, I definitely in part owe that to Pat. But man, hey, John Waters, like I said, that I find his humor similar to humor that our family could have, but maybe a little more extreme, but maybe not too. So, but yeah, and yeah, as far as John Waters movies go, this is one of the more, I would say, tamer John Waters films.
Oh, much tamer. I'm very curious because having seen his earlier work and then his later work, it's so much tamer. Maybe not a drastic change in theme, but there's
Yeah,
definitely an entirely different feel to it. And I'd be very curious as to know like what introduced that artistic change.
right. Yeah, yeah, I'm not sure. Maybe he just decided
Uh,
to you know
Was it the desire to actually have financial success in his movies?
right. Yeah.
Was it a desire to be considered more legitimate,
Yeah.
or what? Did someone take him aside and said, "Dude, you got to stop"?
Well, I doubt that would have worked on John Waters, but
It depends on who it was.
yeah, and however, he is working with, it's there's a lot of different directors that have had their careers maybe get a little tamer as they got, and he is one of them. But he's working with Kathleen Turner, Sam Waterston in this film. So, I mean, when you look at some of the earlier themes that were going on,
Mhm.
some of them were probably, I mean, I'm sure, obviously Kathleen Turner, Sam Waters, a lot of these people must have appreciated his movies and got a laugh out of them and had enough of a sense of humor. But there are actors and actresses that will not do.
Oh
um,
yeah,
yeah, I mean, there's a lot that would not do his early films. So these,
I'm sure there's a lot that won't do his later films just because of his early
true,
film.
true, and that actually said a lot for, to me, the hipness of Kathleen Turner, that she actually not only would do it, but she actually really thrived in it.
Guess who she invited to the set
Oh,
during the filming of this? Her friend, Sandra Day O'Connor.
wow, really?
Yes,
Really?
Supreme
Wow,
former Supreme Court
that's
Justice
kind of cool.
Sandra Day
Yeah,
O'Connor.
yeah, that's kind of cool. I like that idea.
I thought that was totally
Yeah.
cool.
Yep. Well, I'll tell you, from what I've heard about Kathleen Turner, she's very down to earth. Alicia actually met her when she was going to,
Oh wow.
yeah, when she was going to her film school. Her Kathleen Turner's son was investigating the college in Amherst, and she came out, and she actually the dorm. She came into the dorm. She wanted to talk to some of the students, and she ended up talking to Alicia. So that's kind of cool, right there.
Neat. Yeah.
Yeah. Um, so she said, "Yeah,
Great
Kathleen."
scene.
Well, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Great scene, Sam Waterston again.
Yeah. Yep.
We saw him in Hopscotch.
Yep. And again, he is a cool actor. He takes on cool roles, and you remember him. He's one of those. He's one of
Well,
those actors. I mean, he had a smaller part. He just played. You
he
know.
he took on cool roles.
Yeah.
At this point, it's hard for me to think of him as anything other than his character on Law and Order.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
He's been in
True.
that role for so long.
Yeah. 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 True. Although I don't know, maybe because I wasn't as big a Law and Order fan, but I definitely, yeah, you're right. That kind of did get burned in my head a
Yeah.
little bit.
I,
At
I
least,
gotta, I gotta look at him and see if he is still taking other roles in addition to his role in Law and Order.
right.
But I really haven't heard much of him
Yeah,
out
actually, you're
of that.
right. To tell you the truth, I'm trying to think of like uh, what he's been in recently beyond that. Yeah, I'm not so sure. I can think of anything. So, yeah, that's actually a good
Okay,
question.
this scene right here,
Yes.
so cool. But what video store has a secret room?
Uh, you might be surprised.
I'm
Might be,
like, oh my god, the cabinet swings out.
yeah, oh yeah. Well, it's cool. You never know. Maybe the Baltimore one, we should look into that, because apparently, from what I gather, that is John Waters' video store. So maybe he actually knew something.
In Baltimore.
Yeah, yeah. So, yeah,
Maybe eventually this YouTube channel will be us traveling to different
you
locations of
know,
famous movie.
I would absolutely love to do that. That would be completely cool. And yeah, I would absolutely love to do that. That would be pretty damn awesome. So,
I'll have to start looking into that because you're right, that would be awesome.
yeah, yeah. But I mean, hey, just doing something like an Austin trip, and or different, because there's a lot of good movies that have been filmed in Austin, and hey, Boston. One of the movies, and again, not wanting to get off track, but one of the movies that I really want to do, The Last Detail, which is a
Yep,
Randy Quaid one, Jack Nicholson.
yep, that
Um,
good movie.
yep, a lot more people, big cast, but that is a great movie, and I definitely want to do that one. So, uh,
At
hey,
some point, at some point, I'll be choosing Drugstore Cowboy
oh my God, I love that movie.
and the pharmacy that who was it? Matt Dillon?
Yeah, yeah,
The pharmacy he robs is still in existence. It's no longer a pharmacy, but it's a bar called The Pharmacy.
okay, wow, really, yeah,
Yeah, so
yeah,
when I do that, I'll get some. I'll grab some pictures of that and put them up.
yeah. Now that's another thing is pharmacies have gotten a lot. It was a lot easier back in the day. If somebody was trying to rip off a pharmacy, it was a lot easier to distract the pharmacist, or like put out get a phony script or something like
Mhm.
that. It's a lot harder to do that now. Everything's
Yeah, my
computerized.
pharmacy has a sign up saying opioids are in a time-locked cabinet.
Oh yeah, yeah. Well, it's funny because when I had, I've been going through the dental surgery stuff, um, and I had gotten done with an appointment, and I came back, and man, I was in so much pain. I was still a little bit numbed up, but they had called in a script, and it was a painkiller. They knew I was going to be in pain when I came off of it, and I hate painkillers, but I pulled up through the drive-through window, and the woman at the in the drive-through very, very sternly said to me, "For a prescription like that, sir, you must come inside." And I'm thinking, wow. So, so yeah, and I'm walking up to the window. I mean, look at me. I'm an old dude, and I'm walking up to the inside window, and the woman's looking at me real sternly, like, "Who is this drug abuser?" And it's like, well, take it easy, lady. Yeah.
Okay, we're getting off topic
Yes, we
again.
are.
But as hard as harder opioids are to steal from pharmacies right now, what's really hard is to kill someone with a leg of lamb.
Yes, yes,
Like
absolutely.
I don't see how she did that. A frozen one?
Yes,
Yes.
yeah, because
A
there's
cooked one?
there's a very famous, I believe it was Alfred Hitchcock episode
Yep.
with the and it's been redone a couple of times in a couple of other series. There was one I don't know if it was that Wide World Mystery thing that was based off of that British television show. But at any rate, the plot is a woman has a frozen leg of lamb and basically slams it into the back of her husband's head, kills him, and then puts it in the oven and goes out, and she pretends she's been out for the day, comes back in with the lamb is done, and the cops come there because when she calls in the report of her husband being dead, and they're looking for a murder weapon. They're looking all over the house. It's like, well, what could it have been? And something very heavy, and then she proceeds to serve them dinner, and they're sitting there eating the leg of lamb. Oh, this is delicious.
Mhm,
They eat the
mhm.
evidence, but
I'm sure that was the inspiration for this.
yeah.
But
Oh yeah.
again, cooked.
Yeah. Well, it's funny because she starts to come out with the knife, and then she's like, no. She goes back and gets the lamb, and it's like, wow. But yeah, I guess the bone part of it, but that thing was so meaty. I
Right,
mean,
you've got this cushion of meat.
yeah, it's like boy, you'd need a lot of beating.
I'm not saying it couldn't be done, but that would
Yeah,
be one heck of a workout.
yeah, oh yeah, oh yeah. And it would probably be a long, slow death. So
Huh. Here's an idea for a workout video. A serial killer workout.
yeah, 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 exactly. But yeah, I don't know. Like I said, it's not John Waters' finest hour. It's certainly a very entertaining hour, and for if someone wanted to get familiar with John Waters and his work, then I would say this probably would be a good place to start
It would be a good
because
place to start. I mean,
yeah,
all his later stuff. Crybaby, um, I don't know about what is it, a dirty shame or a low down dirty shame?
a dirty shame is very dirty, but
Yeah.
it's so funny. Tracy Ullman, and just some of the whole stuff with that, that is absolutely hilarious. It's a personal favorite. Uh, I thought for a later John Waters one, I thought for one thing it is dirty, but the other thing it is very funny. And I consider for his later movies, Pecker and A Dirty Shame to me are two of my favorites. Crybaby probably is third from that. And then I like Crybaby, but I don't love. I consider Crybaby and Serial Mom kind of in the same.
Mhm.
They're both good. They're both very good. They're both fun, but A Dirty Shame and uh, yeah, it's like I said. I don't know. I hate to do that, like saying that I like this one better or whatever because they're all
But
good.
don't worry about it because people do it all the time. I
Oh
went
yeah,
on to Reddit
yeah.
because John Waters has a subreddit there where people
Oh
just talk
really?
about
Yeah.
him and his movies and all that.
Huh.
And
I'll
it's
have to check it
constantly
out.
like, here's here's how I rate his movies. How does this match up with yours?
Yeah.
And there have been just fascinating discussions.
Wow. Yeah. Wow. Yeah. I'll have to check that out. I didn't know that. But yeah, all I can
And,
say is
and
I'm a
you don't
fan.
even have to see his movie, do see his movies, but you can skip right to John Waters. He's done several speaking engagements, and there's a lot of videos on YouTube where you can just hear him go on about his inspiration, his
Oh yeah.
growing up, things like that. And it's fascinating.
Dude, the show that I saw in Portland, Maine, that was really what a lot of his talk was about.
Hmm.
Was what inspired him, to do his films and what he loves for movies and books and things like that. Um, I mean, he's very funny because on the one hand, he kind of like um, spoofs and makes fun of like the status quo of society. On the other hand, he's a big fan of Christmas. He likes there's a lot of the things that people love. He had a crazy childhood, I'm sure, but he also like really has a lot of the traditions that people have. He really loves and holds dear, but he also he likes to mess with people too.
Yep, yep. He loves tradition, but he also loves to break tradition.
Yeah. Oh yes, yeah, and thank God because like I said, he's given us a lot of great humor and some of these are like I said, I do believe this wouldn't be a bad way if you wanted to, if you've never seen John Waters and you would like to check out what he's done. I would say this Crybaby
Or
and
hairspray.
yeah, oh yeah, yeah, because the hairspray, like the newer hairspray, that's that the musical hairspray, all that. Those are ways of getting into seeing and knowing about John Waters. Just understand that when you do take the step back into the earlier works, that
Yeah,
you might be
be warned.
yeah, you might be shocked. You might be shocked by some of the themes, some of the but my God, there's so many funny things. Divine with the cha-cha boots and wrecking the Christmas tree, like knocking the Christmas tree over.
The thing is, those movies were filled with born performers.
Oh yeah.
Like put them in front of a camera and they will entertain you.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter.
Well, when Divine died, John Waters really lost. That was an important person that I mean, he needed in his or films. And, he had these certain ones, these go to actors and actresses that were just really, really hilarious in whatever
Hmm.
roles that they did. And again, Meg Stoll,
Hmm.
God, she was great. And so like I said, I don't know. I have a great appreciation for and this is a good example of because we've shown already several films now and talked about them, but this is a good example of going. We're going to go from good movies, really great movies, to the really bad B movies that we love for whatever reason, and also ones that are maybe some people might not like or might not or might find offensive. But
So what started out as a discussion about the movie Serial Mom became the first meeting of the John Waters fan club.
really, really, well,
Well, I mean,
again,
that's mostly what we're gushing about, and
yeah,
with good reason.
yes, yep, exactly, and the reason why this movie is as funny as it is because John Waters made it. And
Hmm.
so
Hmm.
all power to John Waters there. The
Yeah, no
movie,
one's got a mind like his, and the world is a better place for it.
absolutely, absolutely. And that's another thing is he's written some pretty good books too. He's been doing a lot more books. I guess he's been saying that books have been the area that he's actually exploring because he has more freedom and he doesn't have to worry about people like, and that probably is maybe part of why the movies have gotten a little bit tamer because
Yeah.
as he's gotten bigger, as he's gotten bigger budgets, it's so hard, getting a movie made and
Hmm.
not having a studio go, we'd like you to change this scene. And, you're really fighting the whole time.
Evidently, he had quite the battle with I think it was Savoy Studios over Serial Mom.
Is that right? Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah, I haven't heard a whole lot about the making of as far as like,
Yeah,
what,
they wanted this really toned down, particularly the violence.
yeah, yeah. Well, I'm sure they did. And the whole thing with John Waters is don't tone him down. He's that's but again, for the budget to get the actors and actresses that he can get, yeah, I'm sure it's getting harder and harder for him to make a movie now.
Hmm.
That when you're young and you're making film and you're running around with a 16 millimeter camera and you've got this crazy crew that's willing to pretty much do anything and everybody's having a good time and there could be some drugs involved. Whatever, it's a lot easier to do that stuff, that cowboy stuff. And then as you uh, get more known and you've got a studio and more sophisticated production, it's harder to do that stuff. So,
Yeah, yeah. But anyway, this might be a good note to end it on.
yeah, yeah.
Again, we could just talk about John Waters forever.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And by the way, there's Suzanne Summers, the little cameo by Suzanne
I
Summers.
thought it was great that he got her.
Yes, and playing herself too. And part of the thing about I know we're going to wrap it up, but I was just going to say I had to mention this because Suzanne Summers being in this movie, she's playing herself and she's fascinated by serial killers, and that's why
Hmm.
she's at the trial. And of course, she wants to play the part. But John Waters apparently is so fascinated by serial killers that apparently he has attended a lot of trials. And he said one of his big regrets is he's become so well known that he can't attend trials anymore because if he shows up, then people recognize him and so it's taken away the fun of him being able to show up and watch a trial.
I'm
So
sure.
again, this we're talking about a guy who's got a very, very fun mind. I mean,
Yeah,
how
the fun of seeing a murder trial.
yeah. So I mean, but the fact that he finds it humorous and fascinating, also that in itself is kind of cool. But yeah, so yeah, we should probably wrap this one up, Dom. But I'm glad you chose this one, and thank you for
Oh
choosing
yeah.
this one because great pick. And and yeah, I was totally having fun rewatching this again. So thank you.
Oh yeah, it's a great movie. We're gonna see many, many more.
Oh yeah, yeah. Believe me, like I said, this is right up. This is our alley. We love film of all kinds, and we're gonna you guys that are watching, just know that you're never gonna get bored by what we're choosing. I don't think because we're
You'll
gonna
just
keep.
get bored with us.
Yeah, yeah. You might get bored with us. You might be bored, but as far as like as far as like where we're going, it's kind of like a pinball machine. We're bouncing off the walls, so it's always going to be a different movie. We'll never run out of film. There's too many good ones. So, and please, before we do end, like and subscribe. We hate saying it, but please,
Smash that like button.
yeah, it's important. So please do if you would. But so Dom, we're gonna meet up again.
Yep,
And
yep. Another week, another movie.
yep, that's right. And the next one's my pick. I've already got the pick, and I've already told you,
Yep.
But but I'll keep it under wraps until you do the short. So now that you know what I picked, you can do the short at any time. Put that up for the preview, and hey, we're on board. So thanks everybody for tuning in. We had
Yep.
fun. We hope you did. Dom, once again, great pick.
Thank you. Thank you. Can't wait for yours.
Yeah, yep. Well, we'll meet again. So thanks a lot, and have a great night, Dom. You said you're heading out. Be careful of the ice out there, and enjoy your evening. Folks, we'll see you again next week. Thanks a lot.
See
Bye.
y'all.